Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Simon. So I have been in a very weird place with my art lately, which is why I decided to go ahead and try the no undo challenge. I thought that with how much trouble I've been having with my art and what I've been doing lately, that a challenge where I tried to force myself to either deal with my mistakes or kind of do my best to fix them would be a good way to work myself through this weird sort of period that I'm having. It's been 2 weeks. I'm very much in a weird sort of headspace. So I thought this would be a kind of fun thing to try. I will say there is one point where I allowed myself an undo much later in this video because I tried to do a sort of color drop fill thing on a shape, forgetting that my pencil tool does not like it when I do that, and it filled the entire layer, just everything. And I wasn't gonna redo the liner. It wasn't gonna happen. I was not gonna be doing that. So I did fix that off camera. I did allow myself just one undo, just one little one. Anyways, so getting into the actual rules of this challenge. So I wasn't gonna bar myself from using other tools like the transform or liquefy tool to kind of adjust the appearance of lines that I had made, and I also allowed myself to use the eraser tool because I didn't want to torture myself. Something that I would highly recommend if you're doing this challenge in Procreate or something else that has some sort of gesture control to allow you to undo, turn that off. To do that in Procreate, all you have to do is go to the little wrench icon, tap prefs, then gesture controls, then general, and then select the disable, undo, and redo button. And I would highly recommend doing this because if you're anything like me and you use the the double tap undo religiously, you will do so subconsciously, even if you're actively filming a video where you know you can't undo. And I say this because I literally had to restart this video because 3 seconds into the sketch, I had already used it. So I did have to go in and jump and turn that off. And even after I turned it off, I found myself double tapping anytime I'd made a mistake and then gotten confused when the line was not disappearing. So yeah, if you find yourself tempted to double tap, just turn the function off and you're golden. So now that I've gone over the rules a little bit, I just wanted to get into the actual experience of doing this challenge. So I have to say that it was a lot more difficult than I'd imagined, especially when allowing myself to use the other tools that I'd mentioned before. It also kind of brought to my attention just how finicky I am with my line work. The number of times I found myself trying to double tap or having to distort or erase a line was insane. I think particularly around the chin and the jawline and also the mouth was where I found myself doing this most often. Another thing about not being able to undo, if you're adjusting the lines or even colors with the eraser tool, you have to do so meticulously. You have to do so meticulously, or you risk erasing a line that you didn't mean to erase. I think at one point this happened around the ear or something, and it happened pretty frequently for me while I was working on the hair, just because the sheer amount of line work that I had, which is what led to me eventually moving the hair to its own layer so that I could kind of erase more freely and not have to worry so much about damaging the face or anything like that. But even then I found myself damaging lines that I did not intend to, and having to rework them, which is very annoying, especially if you like a line and then it's gone. Same thing goes for the transform tools. If I'd adjusted something and then deselected it and suddenly realized that I didn't like what I'd done and rather preferred how it was before, there was no way to get what I'd done previously back. So I had to work with what I had and sort of readjust, which happened a lot with the nose. I think I scrapped it, I want to say maybe 3 times, just completely removing like everything that I'd done. And then I know there was one point where I had used like kind of like the distort, or maybe it was the liquefy tool or something like that around the nose, and it just looked horrendous. One thing is, I don't know if this counts, but there's a reset button on the liquefy tool, and I did be using that. I know at one point I had used the liquefy tool on one of the eyes to kind of adjust the pupil, and then I looked over, or not the pupil, the iris. I was adjusting the iris and I looked over at the other eye and noticed that I had like totally like dragged it some weird way, and it was like all distorted and weird, and I was like, whoa, reset. I don't know if that counts as an undo, but I did do it. That being said, I do like the overall end result of this piece. I think the finished line art has kind of a different energy than the original sketch, but I don't hate where it ended up. Picking the colors was definitely sort of a headache though. Like I literally have kind of a migraine as I'm filming this voiceover. In my head I'd pictured an almost like monochromatic, like desaturated brown look apart from the colors on the mug, which I wanted to be pretty much exactly how they ended up, you know, like the bright yellow, the kind of coral, and then like a sort of desaturated blue. I really wasn't sure. The blues are hard for me because there's just, in my eyes, so many blues, and so it's kind of hard for me to pick like what hue I wanted it to be, and then also how desaturated I wanted it to be. But I think I did manage to pick the right sort of colors there. That being said, having those three colors and then pairing that with a brown background, brown hair, brown eyes, brown cardigan, brown shirt, you know, it was too much brown. And having all of that alongside like these three random colors in just the mug made no sense. So instead, I decided to incorporate them into other aspects of the character, like the sort of dark muted pink on the lips, blue eyes, and the yellow background. I think her eyes might be just like a touch too saturated, but I think that's more of a result of me using like the add layer mode to get the brightest parts of the eye on there, which I have been really enjoying because it does make a nice effect, especially when you use the smudge tool on like the edges, because it's such a nice, like it makes really nice saturated colors around the edges, so it looks just really bright and very pretty. But having it paired with all of like the desaturated sort of everything else kind of makes so that it stands out just a little bit too much, but who knows, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I don't think it looks terrible, but I think they definitely stand out a little bit more than I had intended them to. Anyway, what do you guys think of this challenge? Would you want to try it for yourself? If so, I would highly, highly encourage you to do so. Doing it showed me a lot about my work process, and like it did exactly what I was hoping for in terms of coping with my artistic mistakes. That being said, I don't think that I will be abandoning the undo button anytime soon. In fact, as soon as I had finished the illustration, I went straight back into gesture controls and turned it back on. Yeah, also, speaking of things that will be happening soon, the shop will be going live again soon. I haven't figured out an exact date yet, and this isn't a shop update, so when the shop does go live, May's stickers and other goodies from that month will not be up just yet, but keep an eye out for the actual shop update. This is more so just a visual update. Like I said, I have been working on rephotographing everything so that it's a bit more just consistent and cohesive and just a little bit more professional, because I've got all of these different types of backgrounds, different patterns, different colors, different textures and things like that, and I just wanted things to be a little bit more standardized and also just better photography in general. When I first opened my Etsy shop, I did not know a single thing about product photography, and I didn't have exactly the best phone for taking pictures and things like that, so it just looked a little bit messy, a little bit wonky. So yeah, this is just a sort of visual update, but I wanted to put it back up before the actual shop update just because again, the shop's been closed for a little while, and I know some people might want, you know, like the April rewards and stuff that didn't notice that they'd gone up the first couple days of this month. Or was it last month? I think it was it this month? It was this month, wasn't it? I don't know, my brain's broken. Anyways, but yeah, so I just wanted to go ahead and put those things back on there so that you guys could get those if you wanted to. Another thing, if you are anxiously waiting for May's Patreon rewards to go up in the Etsy shop and don't think you can bear to wait for any future rewards and want early access, I would highly recommend checking out the Patreon. There's a lot of stuff that's changed about it recently. There's a lot of cool things on there. There's like physical rewards like stickers and prints, digital rewards like downloadable prints and line art, and other cool stuff like playlists and shoutouts alongside cool people like Elise Thompson, Duran, Mandy, Sleeps, Kruhi, and Created by Twins. You guys are amazing, and so are all y'all that are still watching this video. Oh, one thing I also want to mention is if you do join the Patreon, even at the lowest tiers, you now get stuff like behind the scenes sketches of stuff that, one, I don't post on Instagram, and two, just like, you know, how I create the stickers and the prints and stuff like that. So you get everything from like the initial like idea kind of thumbnailing sketch to sort of the refinement, the line work, all of that on the tiers as well. And then you can also vote for future Patreon stuff, future stickers and prints and stuff like that. Right now we are voting on July's theme, so if you're interested to see what that is and vote on it for yourself, that is also something that you can watch, or something that you can do. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for bearing with me, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.